would you feel if I told you that everything you know about Cleopatra is a massive lie? The most famous queen in history harbors dark secrets that have been buried for 2,000 years. Secrets so terrifying that modern historians still tremble when discussing them. Today, we're going to expose all of those lies. And trust me, after watching this video to the end, you'll never look at Cleopatra the same way again. 1. The grand illusion the world believed. For centuries, Hollywood has portrayed Cleopatra as an exotic and stunning Egyptian woman. Elizabeth Taylor, Monica Bellucci, and dozens of other actresses have played her with the dark skin typical of Africa. But here's the reality that destroys all those fantasies. Cleopatra VII Philopator was not a native Egyptian. She didn't even have a single drop of Egyptian blood in her body. This fact is so shocking that many museums worldwide still refuse to acknowledge it openly. So who was Cleopatra really? 2. The hidden origins. Cleopatra was a direct descendant of Ptolemy I Soter, a Macedonian general who was a close friend of Alexander the Great. When Alexander died in 323 BC, his kingdom was divided among his generals. Ptolemy received Egypt as his share, and here's the most shocking part. For 300 years, the Ptolemaic dynasty never married Egyptians. They practiced extreme inbreeding to preserve the purity of Macedonian blood. Cleopatra herself was the result of 11 generations of inbreeding. Her father and mother were siblings, her grandparents were also siblings. This terrifying pattern continued for centuries. 3. The true face of the queen. If Cleopatra wasn't Egyptian, what did she actually look like? Based on ancient coins discovered, Cleopatra's face was very different from Hollywood's portrayal. She had a large, hooked nose, a sharply protruding chin, and deep-set eyes with a piercing gaze. There was no trace of the exotic Egyptian beauty we've always imagined. Instead, she looked like a Macedonian woman with harsh Greek features. But don't be mistaken, this is what made Cleopatra so dangerous. She didn't rely on physical beauty, but on extraordinary intelligence and cruelty. 4. Brutal political strategies. Cleopatra ascended to the throne at age 18 through very dirty means. She had to share power with her brother, Ptolemy XIII, according to dynasty tradition. But Cleopatra didn't want to share with anyone. Within less than 3 years, she managed to eliminate her own brother. Ptolemy XIII was found dead under suspicious circumstances. The cause of his death was never revealed, but everyone knew who was behind it. After that, Cleopatra married another brother, Ptolemy XIV, but this marriage only lasted for years. Ptolemy XIV also died young under mysterious circumstances. This pattern of family murders was no coincidence. 5. Dangerous alliance with Rome. When Julius Caesar arrived in Alexandria, Cleopatra saw a golden opportunity. She knew that to maintain her throne, she needed Roman protection. But the way she approached Caesar truly revealed her manipulative nature. Cleopatra bribed palace guards to smuggle her inside a carpet. The carpet was rolled up and carried directly to Caesar's private chamber. When the carpet was unrolled, out came Cleopatra half-naked. This wasn't a romantic story as often portrayed. This was cold and cruel political calculation. Cleopatra used her body as a weapon to control Rome's most powerful ruler. 6. Deadly manipulation. Cleopatra's relationship with Caesar produced a child, Caesarion. But when Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC, Cleopatra didn't mourn his death. Instead, she immediately sought her next target, Marcus Antonius. Their first meeting on the Kidmus River was an extraordinary theatrical performance. Cleopatra arrived on a gold-plated ship dressed like the goddess Aphrodite. But behind that magnificence lay a hidden, sinister agenda. She successfully seduced Antonius and made the man forget his wife in Rome. Antonius even neglected his responsibilities as a Roman triumvir. This was Cleopatra's brilliance. She could make the world as most powerful men slaves to their lust. 7. Evil plan to conquer the world. Cleopatra and Antonius weren't just having an ordinary romance. They were planning to conquer the entire Roman world. Their plan was to divide the Roman Empire into two, West and East. Antonius would rule the eastern territories, with Alexandria as the center, while Octavianus, later Augustus, ruled the west from Rome. But Cleopatra's ambition was bigger than that. She wanted to make Alexandria the new capital of the world. Rome would become a provincial city under Egyptian rule. Imagine if this plan had succeeded. World history would have changed completely. The Roman Empire might never have reached its glory, and Western civilization would have developed in a vastly different direction. 8. Hidden brutality. Behind her image as a cultured queen, Cleopatra was an extremely cruel ruler. She didn't hesitate to torture and kill anyone who stood in her way. Historians recorded that she had a complete collection of poisons. Cleopatra often tested these poisons on prisoners and slaves. She watched intently as her victims suffered before dying. This wasn't just for execution purposes, but also for personal satisfaction. Cleopatra enjoyed others' suffering. She even once forced her sister, Arsinoe, to be mutilated in public. After that, Arsinoe was killed on Cleopatra's direct orders. 9. The horrific end. When Octavianus defeated Antonius at the Battle of Actium, Cleopatra's fate was sealed. She knew Octavianus would take her to Rome as a prisoner. There, she would be paraded in a victory procession before being executed. For the proud Cleopatra, this was an unacceptable humiliation, so she planned a theatrical suicide. But the manner of her death revealed Cleopatra's true nature till the final moment. She didn't die from a snake bite as often told. Cleopatra died from poison she had long prepared. The same poison she had once tested on her victims. Even in death, Cleopatra showed her evil nature. 10. The historical writing conspiracy. After Cleopatra's death, Octavianus Augustus began rewriting history. He didn't want the Roman people to know how truly dangerous Cleopatra had been. If people knew that a foreign woman had nearly succeeded in destroying Rome, it would be humiliating. So began a massive propaganda campaign to change Cleopatra's image. She was portrayed as a beautiful woman who relied on charm to seduce Roman men. Her political intelligence and cruelty were deliberately hidden. Hollywood later continued this propaganda unknowingly. Films about Cleopatra focused on romantic aspects, not her dark side. As a result, the modern world never knew who Cleopatra really was. Closing. But here's the most mind-blowing part of all these secrets. Cleopatra might not be the last queen of the Ptolemaic dynasty as always believed. Recent genetic research shows a shocking possibility. Some noble families in modern Europe have DNA very similar to Ptolemaic dynasty mummies. This means Cleopatra's descendants might still be alive among us today. They might not realize the ancient Macedonian blood flowing through their bodies. The same blood as the most cruel queen in history. So when you meet someone with deep eyes and a piercing gaze, be careful. They might carry Cleopatra's genes within them. And as we've learned today, those genes carry potential for extraordinary power and cruelty. The world has been lied to for 2,000 years about who Cleopatra really was. Now you know the truth. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge?